Hey guys, it's Kanika. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'll be talking about how sociopaths and narcissists deal with abandonment and rejection. Please make sure you like and subscribe and stay tuned for my following videos. So when someone is a part of the cluster B little family, it's because they've had some instability or childhood abuse or too much admiration and affection, which is, I think, what was happening with me. Or they've had something so dramatic shift in their lives at an early age that they need to change their entire personality to respond to triggers and traumas. This becomes a real issue in terms of abandonment and rejection. Now, I will give you this. Abandonment and rejection is fucking shit for everyone involved. It's not good for neurotypicals either. Like, I see you guys, I know you're suffering. But for us, if you Google this, it comes up with so many results. People want to know how narcissists and sociopaths react to rejection and abandonment. So I'm going to tell you the unfiltered version. It feels like fucking death. That's what it feels like. It feels like we're in Titanic and we're Jack. We're not Rose. We don't have the door. We're drowning in ice water and it's terrible. Let's describe it like this. I'm going to go from a narcissistic perspective first and then I'll go through a sociopathic lens after. As a narcissist, we've built this false self. Wealthy, talented, intelligent. Basically the kind of person you admire and hope to be. Of course, this person doesn't exist because everybody has flaws, not just us, but everybody. We can't have that though because we have no way to self-regulate our emotions and our self-esteem. So we keep pumping gas into this like false self over here. And what abandonment and rejection does is makes it burst. That's what happens to the false self. And the real self is in bed crying or eating like 2 tons of fucking ice cream and, you know, not going to the gym and then crying about getting fat and not getting enough narcissistic supply because we're getting fat and unattractive. Anyway, with a narcissist, when you reject their false self, you are triggering their true self, and it's like this endless well they have no understanding of and no awareness of. So it feels like you are snatching their entire world away, and they feel so much despair that they often cannot work. They cannot go back to uni for a while. They're out of commission. It's not the same thing as a neurotypical being rejected, because I've seen that happen and I know what you guys are feeling. It sucks. Of course it sucks. But for us, it's like being punched and then maybe like thrown out a window just for some fun and some broken bones. We tend to hide our loneliness and despair with arrogance. Some narcissists, they will go on the attack, and so if you rejected them or abandoned them, you are going to be inflicted with a lot of messaging, a lot of attacking, a lot of threats. Sometimes there's a few bad apples out there in our community who will go out and do really abusive shit, but there's a lot of us who will just suffer internally and we will just hurt ourselves. I'm not talking suicide or self-harm. For me personally, I won't go into it. I wasn't technically rejected or abandoned at all, but when I was dealing with this situation recently, I was so depressed that the idea of being alive just felt like it was too much. I don't want to exist as a human. And it was over something so trivial. If you guys actually knew what it was so fucking trivial. And I talked to a shrink about it and he's like, man, this is trivial. But because it caused such a blow to my ego, I was just wrecked. My partner Sam had to spend hours with me trying to make me feel better. We went swimming for hours, which I love to do. I love swimming. He took me to the art gallery. He took me to the movies, basically everything he could do to cheer me up, which I'm immensely grateful for because otherwise I don't know what would have happened. I tend to be quite impulsive and irrational about things sometimes, not out of just emotions, but there's kind of hopelessness. It was very temporary, but it was so overwhelming that, oh God, I don't know, it really, really got to me. While I still had narcissistic supply, other people do not. And when you don't have narcissistic supply, you're not living. Narcissists will go to new extremes to find people who can support them, who can give them the love and attention that they need. And they will do risky things to kind of win attention. So they'll go out and spend all their money, kind of like a manic episode, except not bipolar. It makes you think maybe this is bipolar or borderline. It's really not. It's not so much a thing of 2 weeks of mania or 2 weeks of depression. It's kind of over like a week or so. And this is the kind of time it takes to recharge and move on. Abandonment just kind of wakens that feeling inside them that they're worthless, because if someone's left them, or if someone doesn't even reply to them, what value do they have to society? That's how we think. It makes no logical sense, of course, because we are more than just people's responses to us. We shouldn't hate ourselves as much as we do. I feel really, really humiliated kind of actually exposing this side of my personality, because I like to look like that flawless Instagram model who doesn't have vulnerabilities, but obviously I do. I'm not on the worst end of the narcissistic spectrum, but I'm pretty up there, let's be honest. Fairly up there. So we do need the kind of love and affection that other people can give us. For the narcissist, this is a giant blow to our very core fundamental self. Now let's talk about from the sociopathic side. As you know, I have ASPD, so I'm kind of like both. Sociopaths and psychopaths get a really, really bad rap online and in society. People think that we don't have any emotions, and that we thrive off hurting people, and we're not capable of love or any good ever. And that's really, really not the case. And we're not all parasitic and all these horrible things. But that article that I've talked about previously, The Hidden Suffering of the Psychopath, it tells us clearly that psychopaths and sociopaths still desperately feel the need for love and approval from other people. So we need to be loved and admired and appreciated, just like neurotypicals and just like narcissists and everybody else. We're not some sort of breed of human that cannot comprehend emotions and stuff. So we have an immense fear of abandonment and rejection. If you are living a parasitic life, of course, abandonment is going to affect you because the host is gone. But from the other side of sociopathy, we're very understimulated. So other people give us that stimulus to be excited about life. As you know, sociopaths, psychopaths, narcissists can be pathological liars. Why? Because it's fucking easy. It's really easy to just continue lying as much as possible. I've learned not to do it unless I desperately need to, like if I need to tell my mum I haven't done something that I've actually done, The pathological lying and the extreme arrogance kind of covers what we are actually feeling inside, and this abandonment leaves us with our own thoughts. Let's look at this with the two extremes. As you know, there's sociopaths who are very high functioning CEOs. There are sociopaths who are homeless bums. There are sociopaths that are serial killers. Serial killers are an interesting topic. Jeffrey Dahmer, for example, had antisocial personality disorder and borderline personality disorder. Jeffrey was so afraid of abandonment that he would eat his victims or inject some sort of concoction he brewed up in his apartment that would make them living zombies. Of course, they died within 24 hours because injecting sludge into someone's head is probably not going to be a great idea. And on the other hand, my friend, who I will not name, she is absolutely fucking phenomenal, and she's a full-blown psychopath. And when she feels abandoned or rejected, she goes into her shell. She just feels horrible, but she won't bother other people. She kind of bottles everything up. She still gets shit done, which is so fucking impressive. No matter what's going on in her life, she will make sure all of her work is done. But she does feel awful. She feels hopeless and empty and this kind of despair. Whenever I know that she's feeling like this, I wish I could help her. I feel just horrible because I get that way too. No matter what they do, no one can help unless it's your favorite person or something extraordinary happens. So some people, they'll withdraw. She's that type of person. And then others, they'll go out and they will partake in very risky behavior. And this include promiscuity, gambling, smoking, drinking, partying with lots of drugs, massive infidelity, just so many acts that can be very, very damaging to somebody. We need to be constantly stimulated. And when we're being abandoned or rejected, that's when we need the most stimulus. And so yeah, it's just this horrible feeling that eats at you until you just want to be dead, until you just find another fix. like a drug, but not as awful, although drugs can actually be part of the supply that we need. But also in the article, like I was saying, this abandonment causes visceral pain in the sociopath and the psychopath. This is not just something that they can gloss over. It's like having a physical injury. It's kind of debilitating. Psychopaths tend to have a propensity for violence if they do feel that loneliness, that depression, because they feel that no one can love them for the people that they actually are. And this has been seen with these violent criminals. They were not given the love and like the support in their foundation. They were not given the kind of love that they needed to not need to go to that extreme to achieve some sort of sense of acceptance. I know I'm going on a tangent here, but the thing is, people wonder, like, how can they be so entitled to think that they can murder somebody just because they feel lonely? And yes, I get it, but imagine the world's just kind of closing in on you. I'm not justifying murder in any way, shape or form. I'm just kind of explaining what this article has said about how psychopaths respond to that kind of stimulus. Just like every other person, they have a deep need to be loved and cared for. And when this doesn't happen, they can act out. They don't have any regard for their own life and other people's lives, which can cause a lot of problems. We can either self-destruct or we can blow someone else up. I don't know which option's worse, but we want to ideally avoid both. Anyway, so this is kind of a long ass video because it's a hard topic to discuss without, going to the specifics. Thank you for watching, and I hope it's been somewhat informative and not me just rambling, because I'm very passionate about this topic, as you can see. Please make sure you like and subscribe, and I'll see you all very soon.